الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الناس يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أرسله الله سبحانه وتعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and sisters, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we rely on Him, we seek His forgiveness, and we ask Him to shield us against the evils of our soul. And we ask Him to cleanse us from the sins of our very own actions. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, no one shall be able to misguide. And whomsoever Allah azza wa jal leads astray, no one shall be able to guide. I testify that there is no other deity except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I testify that Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam is the final prophet and messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him with the true guidance and the religion of truth so that it can dominate over all forms of worship despite the anger or the animosity or the hatred of the disbelievers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, O you who have believed, fear Allah. Fear Allah as He is worthy to be feared. And do not die except in a state of submission to His will. Do not let death catch you except in a state of submission to the will of God. Don't let death catch you in a state of disobedience or rebellion against God. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, O you people, fear your Lord. Fear your Lord who created you from one soul. And from that soul He created its mate. And from both of them He produced or dispersed many, many, many men and women. And fear Allah through whom you interact with each other. And respect the rights of the next of kin. Respect the rights of the next of kin. Respect the rights of siblings. Respect the rights of parents. Respect the rights of children. Respect the rights of the next of kin, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you is the ultimate observer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also reminds us and says, O you who have believed, fear Allah and speak only righteousness. Speak the truth. Say only the truth, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may reform your deeds and forgive your sins. For whosoever obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his messenger has definitely achieved a great achievement. The most truthful of all words is the word of God Almighty, and the best guidance is the guidance of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam. And the worst matters indeed are heresies, innovations, introductions of new practices in religion that we haven't learned from the Prophet ﷺ or from his followers. All these heresies lead to misguidance, and misguidance leads only to the fire of hell. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. In a hadith collected by Imam Muslim and others, you can also find it in Sahih ibn Hibban and in Sahih al-Bukhari with a little bit different narration. After Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he said, Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يكثر الهرج. قيل وما الهرج يا رسول الله؟ قال القتل. The day of judgment is not going to happen until the harj becomes abundant. He used the word that refers to killing, murder, but not just any murder. Murder with chaos. Murder with chaos. Murder with a fiasco. In another hadith, also collected by Imam Muslim, narrated by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he says, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ لَا تَذْهَبَنَّ الدُّنْيَا حَتَّى يَأْتِيَ عَلَى النَّاسِ يَوْمٌ لَا يَدْرِي فِيهِ الْقَاتِلُ فِيمَا قَتَلَ وَلَا الْمَقْتُولُ فِيمَا قُتِلَ. They asked him, قِيلَ وَكَيْفَ يَكُونُ ذَلِكَ؟ قَالَ الْهَرْجُ الْقَاتِلُ وَالْمَقْتُولُ فِي النَّارِ. In a different hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says, I swear by the one whose soul, in whose hands rests my soul. This world is not going to finish, is not going to come to an end until a day comes upon the people where the killer doesn't know why he killed. And the victim doesn't know why he was killed. They asked him, how could this possibly happen? He said, during the time of Hajj. Both the killer and the victim, could be in the fire of hell. This is a time where you cannot tell right from wrong. A time with great chaos. A time where there is absolutely no guidance on the face of the earth. A lot of killing, but a lot of disorganized killing. You can see nowadays, every time you open the news, every time you turn on the news, every time you turn on TV or you look at your phone, there's always news about somebody getting killed. Sometimes, for the silliest of reasons, people are losing their lives. This is the time that the Prophet ﷺ told us about almost 1,500 years ago. This is the time where sometimes the killers, they don't know why they killed. Chasing after somebody in a parking lot, and they shoot him down and he's dead. Catching someone and handcuffing him and kneeling over his neck, and this person, in a few minutes, they're dead. Dropping a bomb over a country. They claim this country had weapons of mass destruction. They drop a bomb, and the bomb kills millions of people, and they don't know why they're dead. The killer doesn't know why he killed. The victims, they don't know why they're killed. They just died. They just died. Their lives were taken away from them. This is the time that the Prophet ﷺ told us about in the hadith. But how did we get here? How did the world get to this point? And more importantly, how can we as Muslims avoid being caught in the crossfire of these terrible sins? The answer is simple. For us Muslims, we know. We know the answer is all in our religion of Islam, to submit to the will of Allah. We know as Muslims that no one has superiority over anybody else, except by the measure of the fear of God. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. The dearest amongst you in the sight of Allah is the one who is most God-fearing. We have these answers, but other people don't. Those who don't believe in Allah, those who don't read their scriptures, those who don't submit to the will of God, they're lost and they're misguided. And that's why they got to this point. So as soon as this killing with chaos happens, they hurry because they're misguided. They hurry up and they rush and they make news conferences and press conferences and they sign executive orders and they create new laws and they do lots and lots of things and they invest money and they invest time in order for them to stop this chaos. But it all goes in vain. Only 1 year later or 2 years later, some event happens and the shallow surface that covers their societies is exposed. And all of a sudden, you see true evil and true misguidance in their societies. Because their laws, they don't work. Their executive orders, they don't work. Their press conferences, they don't work. Their investments, they don't work. Nothing works. And nothing is working, and nothing will ever work. Why? Because it lacks guidance. They're trying to do things away from the guidance of Allah and against the guidance of Allah. And that's why it never works. And I'll tell you a story. Oftentimes the Quran in very few words gives us pearls of wisdom. Oftentimes the Quran gives us pearls of wisdom. Words that describe our problems and tell us their solutions. And only those who give thought and learn from the Quran benefit from these words. For example, like I was speaking earlier, in this society, for example, the children of Israel, the descendants of Israel, creating all these laws and signing all these resolutions for them to try to stop the chaos. But only one event, a few weeks later or a few months later, and all of a sudden it's back into chaos. So, in the Quran there's a story about the earlier children of Israel. The actual children of Israel himself, peace be upon him. Jacob, peace be upon him. Yaqub, alayhi salam. In the story of Yusuf, alayhi salam, one of the children of Yaqub, or one of the children of Israel, because Israel is another name of Yaqub, alayhi salam, Israel. He had 12 sons. One of them was our prophet Yusuf, alayhi salam, and then 11 others. 10 of those 11 conspired against their brother, Yusuf, alayhi salam, because they saw how much God favored, how much his father, Yaqub alayhi salam, favored him and loved him and drew him near. So they plotted against him so they can kill him. And a lot of us Muslims know this story. This is a very, very popular story. There's even a surah, an entire surah in the Quran dedicated simply to this story. It's called Surah Yusuf. So when they plotted against him, they took him and they threw him in a well. And after that, he was sold into slavery. And he was picked up by somebody who lives in Egypt, a very rich person. And he grew up there. Much later on in the story, his brothers, who conspired against him earlier, They were living in a place that went through a great famine. Okay? It was drought, it was famine. There was no food, there was nothing to drink. So what they did is they had to leave their place near Jerusalem, or near what is known now as Jerusalem. And they went to Egypt so that they can get help from him. But they didn't know at the time that it was him. He was at the time enthroned in Egypt. He was one of the part of the royal governing party of Egypt. But they didn't recognize him, and he recognized them. I'm trying to rush through the story so I can get you the exact testimony the children of Israel said about themselves. Because like I said earlier, sometimes the Quran gives us just a few words. And if you think about these few words, you're going to realize what the problem is and what the solution may be. So I'm trying to rush through the story. But you can read the chapter, read the surah today, Surah Yusuf, I think it's surah number 12. So when they went to Egypt, they were supposed to exchange some of their belongings for food. What they do is they're going through a drought, through a famine. So they take a lot of their belongings and they go give them to that king of Egypt. And instead, they take in return, they take food or water. So when they did that, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he stipulated that they have to bring to him the following year. He said, next year you come in, I want you to bring that child, the other child. I said earlier there was 12 of them. There's Prophet Yusuf, Prophet Binyamin, Benjamin, and then 10 others. The 10 who conspired against Yusuf, and then there's Yusuf alayhi salam and his brother Binyamin. And his brother Binyamin was from the same mother, but the other 10 were from a different mother. So Prophet Yusuf told him, next year don't come and get food from here unless you bring me your other brother from a different mother. Because he asked him, what is your story? He told him what he did. He told him we had another brother who was lost a long time ago. And he lied to him. And he told him he was lost in the desert. He was lost. We lost him. Obviously, he did not tell him we conspired against him. We wanted to kill him. We wanted to get rid of him. So he told him, okay, next year you come in, you bring me the other brother from that same mother. I want to see him. I want to make sure your story that you told me is correct. And what he did is all the merchandise and all the belongings and all the things that they brought to him, he packed all these things back and gave them back to them. Okay? Why? Some people say he was afraid that they may not have anything else to bring back the following year. So he put all these belongings that they brought over from their own country, and he put all these belongings for them so that they can have something to exchange the following year. So when they went home to their father, if somebody remembers the exact verse, it says, وَلَمَّا فَتَحُوا مَتَاعَهُمْ وَجَدُوا بِضَاعَتَهُمْ رُدَّتْ إِلَيْهِمْ. When they opened up their belongings, they found their merchandise or their belongings had been returned to them. And this is what I want to focus on. So they said to their father a very, very, very important statement or question. And this is something that we remember today. Those are the children of Israel, but thousands of years ago. And they're talking about the children of Israel today. As if they're trying to tell the children of Israel today, your problem is in your hands, and the solution is in your hands. And what they said to their father is very, very curious. Listen carefully what he said. قالوا يا أبانا ما نبغي هذه بضاعتنا ردت إلينا. Our father, what more do we want? This is our merchandise returned to us. This is what he said. He said, our father, what more do we want? This is our merchandise returned to us. As if they're saying, what more do you expect? What more do we expect? This is our merchandise. This is our work, and it was returned to us. So if you think about this is, in these few words, it sums up what is happening in the world today, in the countries that are run by the children of Israel. It is their merchandise returned to them. They write resolutions and they create laws, but they have this source of evil called Hollywood that glorifies violence. Almost every movie you watch glorifies violence. You see, thieves are being glorified for taking matters in their own hands and stealing from others and killing others. Almost every movie you watch, somebody is killing somebody else and taking matters in his own hands and applauded as a hero. This is your merchandise returned to you. Movies that you watch that glorify street racers, that steal from police departments and loot places and loot countries and take matters in their own hands. And then you're surprised when you produce a generation that knows no guidance, a generation that knows no God. You're producing movies where you're telling people we're superheroes, they can control the wind, and that they can control the metal, and they can control this and that. You're producing a society that is messed up in their head. You're producing a merchandise that is rotten and corrupt. So as soon as the surface is scratched, all you see is the corruption and the rotting in the bottom. That is your merchandise returned to you. That is your freedom of expression. That is your freedom of speech. Because you glorify violence, you glorify theft, you glorify killing, you glorify murder in the name of anything. And then after that, you want to go and sign laws and write laws thinking that they're going to stop the problem. But the problem is what you're doing. You're messing up the generation that is causing this chaos today. You messed them up years ago with your movies and your music. Because you were not able to put a stop on misguidance. And that is what we learned from this verse today. هَذِهِ بِضَاعَتُنَا رُدَّتْ إِلَيْنَا. What more do we expect? This is our merchandise returned to us. That's the products that we produce with our own hands. This is the misguidance that we caused. The chaos that we caused. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَا يَحِيقُ الْمَكْرُ السَّيِّئُ إِلَّا بِأَهْلِهِ. The evil plotting does not harm except the evil plotters. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه. I say what I said, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness for you and me and for all. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة وسلاما على عباده الذين اصطفى ثم أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Peace and blessings be upon the Messenger of Allah. We Muslims, on the other hand, we have this guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have our Quran, and we have our Sunnah, Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. In order for us to go through this life and see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without the blood and the chaos in our hands, we need to watch our children. Watch your children what movies they're watching. The movies they're watching could be glorifying violence. The movies they're watching and the songs they're listening to could be glorifying chaos and making them believe that there are other people out there that are like gods. They control the wind, and what they do throughout the entire movie is break things and destroy things and create a lot of chaos and a lot of violence and take the law in their own hands and create misguidance and chaos. This is what your children could be watching today. And years from today, they're going to be the ones causing the chaos. So as Muslims, as believers, we need to watch what our children are watching and what they're learning today. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to empower us all to raise the best generation of Muslims. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to empower us all to raise a generation that follows the Quran and the Sunnah and doesn't take heed in what the children of Israel are doing or those that are following in their footsteps. اللهم اجعل لنا في أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم أعز الإسلام وانصر المسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام وانصر المسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام وانصر المسلمين وارفع بقوتك وعزتك كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم ومن أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين شرا فرد كيده في نحره واجعل تدبيره تدميرا واجعل دائرة السوء عليه يا رب العالمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وكل من اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. إن تنصروا الله ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم وإن ينصركم الله فلا غالب لكم فانصروا الله ينصركم واسألوه يعطكم واشكروه يزدكم. وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واعتدلوا. I cannot ask you to close the gaps because of the virus situation. SubhanAllah. Used to make fun of the niqab. People used to make fun of the niqab. Now the sisters and the brothers are both wearing niqab. SubhanAllah. استووا واعتدلوا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
آمين.
قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنا عابد ما عبدتم ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد لكم دينكم ولي دين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
آمين.
قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
السلام.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Brother, before you leave, please, there is an appeal for you to help us out financially. The masjid has its expenses. There are boxes on your right. Please, whatever you can put in there, please put in there. If you need to use a card, we'll be happy to help you. We will be happy to help you. If you need help, Brother Anas is sitting over there, he can help you. Please, it is more mustahab, it's more rewarding for you to do your sunnah at home. You need to leave the masjid and go out the doors which are in the school parking lot. We have to clean the masjid for the next prayer. So please make your sunnahs at home and follow the instructions of our coronavirus